Hey, what's up, guys? It's Russo and Jordy with Backdoor Fantasy Sports, and this is our Underdog Show. We're going to be talking about the NBA slate on February 8th, Thursday. We have another 5-pick slip for you. We have 9 games, and we have some fun matchups, so we're excited to get into these plays. Before we do, though, if you've never tried Underdog, make sure you use our promo code if you're thinking about giving it a try. Just put in code BACKDOOR. They'll match your first deposit up to $100, and they'll give you an instant pick'em special. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. There's a link in the description of the video if you're looking to sign up. We love Underdog. They have plays as low as $1, and they have a lot of plays that you just can't find on other platforms. So we're big fans of this platform. If you want to check it out, again, just make sure you use code BACKDOOR, and they will match your first deposit and give you an instant pick'em special. So let's talk about the plays we're going to be getting into, and then we'll go over our recap from our last slate. But these are the plays we're going to be covering. If you wanted to lock them in, you can while we go over everything. We feel great about them. We're going to be talking about Ben Simmons, over 13 rebounds and assists. Aaron Nesmith, over 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. We got John Collins, over 7 rebounds. D'Angelo Russell, over 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And Steph Curry, over 4 3-pointers. All right, so these are the ones we're going to be covering. Before we do, though, we're going to hop into our recap, but we just want to quickly tell you about Daily Grind. They are our official partner. They're our favorites. No offense to the other partners we have, but they make really great products. We use their DFS optimizer to find plays and to confirm plays. If we are feeling good, we build our narrative around a play, and then we go confirm it on Daily Grind, and it just helps you make sure you're making the right decision. And they have all sorts of tools over there. If you're looking for some DFS correlation, they have a really good correlation tool. So if you're interested in checking that out, they're giving all of our viewers 25% off when you use code BACKDOOR. There's a link in the description of the video if you guys want to check that out. Just make sure you put that code in to get your 25% off. All right, so let's go over our recap. Do you want to start on some of yours, Jordy, while I can pull up mine?
Yeah. So I had we'd taken let's see here. So I took the Nick Richards for over 10.5 rebounds and assists, and Toronto did a really good job keeping him under wraps. He played 32 minutes and he only had 7. So he missed on this one. It was a rough night for any Charlotte plays. Toronto really just kind of kept them like down in the dumps when it came to a lot of their production. But
and it was the Bridges show too.
Yeah, and Bridges went crazy.
Soaked up everything.
Yeah, so that sucked. But we also I had taken Evan Mobley for over 22.5 points and rebounds, and he went for 30. And then we also took Zubac for over 7 rebounds, and he went for 8. And then if you want to talk about Miller and Victor.
Yeah. When we do the Underdog Show, we just honestly, we do it a little bit different. We build out this slip together. So we both like go searching for plays, and then we talk through them together. And so, but we both felt great about this Victor Wembanyama scorcher because he goes for 2 threes just about every game. So the fact that it was 1.5 and it was a scorcher was a bonus because we would have taken it if it wasn't a scorcher. He ended up cashing on that for us. He went for 3. But yeah, Brandon Miller, he fell short. He went for 24. We took him for 24. We took him for 26.5 points and rebounds. He went for 24. So one more bucket, one more 3-pointer. That was really where he fell short. He went 2 of 8 from 3-pointers. He's usually shooting closer to that 50% mark, believe it or not. He's been averaging 4 3-pointers a game. So one more of those would have cashed it for us. But yeah, it was just all about Miles Bridges. And then now it turns out today, Miles Bridges has vetoed any trades. He doesn't want to leave Charlotte this year. I think it's something to do with his long-term contracts. A lot of these teams that will get him in the trade will not be able to like the suitors, like the Suns, can't offer him. They don't have the cap space to offer him a big extension next year, but Charlotte does. So he put a halt to all of those talks. Unfortunately, as a Suns fan, I really wanted to land Bridges, but he's not interested. He'd rather get his big payday, his big payday next year than go take a run at a chip this year with the Suns. So I think he was making a statement, and he played an insane game. It wasn't even like he was being selfish and was, not playing great, but wasn't passing the ball. It's like, dude went 17 of 27 from the field, 45 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. So he wasn't letting anyone else eat. So that cut into our other Charlotte plays. But anyways, guys, we feel great about these plays. So yeah, we ended up going 3 of 5. And without that Miles Bridges situation, I think we could have got the sweep there because our guys came pretty close otherwise. But yeah, let's get into these plays today. I feel great about these. I'll get us started with, let's see, who do I got up first? We'll go with Aaron Nesmith, 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. If we hop over to this over-under, we have a 249 over-under. Like we've mentioned before, anytime the Pacers are in a game you're taking, there's going to be a high over-under because they score the ball. That's what they do. So 249, super high over-under. We have the Pacers favored by 6. We do have the Warriors coming off of a back-to-back, or this will be a back-to-back game for them. So they might be a little bit, they're not going to be at 100% like the Pacers should be. But the Pacers have a lot of guys questionable, some game time decisions. So we'll see how that goes. We have Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, and Jalen Smith. There's some other guys, but those are the main guys that are significant, that they're game time decisions. Wouldn't be surprised if Halliburton plays, but we'll see. But either way, regardless of what happens, I think Nesmith is going to need to be involved. And the matchup here is it's okay. It's not bad. If we go over to small forwards, we got 19th in points allowed, 9th in rebounds allowed, and 4th in assists allowed. He's still averaging a solid minutes, 33 minutes a game. He's getting himself in a little bit of foul trouble, though. That's the problem. When you have these really good defenders like Nesmith, they're great on defense, but because they're constantly trying to steal the ball and whatnot, they get fouled, or they give fouls sometimes. So if he can keep it in check as far as not getting himself into foul trouble, he should be able to get his full minutes. But if you look at that, even though he's pushing 4 fouls per game, he's still getting 33 minutes a game. So we still feel comfortable taking this. He's shooting 53% from the field right now, only 10.6 attempts per game, but just under 6 buckets a game is what he's averaging. But he's shooting well from the 3-point line. He's 43%, averaging 2.2 a game. So when you're over that 2 mark from 3 per game, that's what we like to see. So especially when you're only taking 5 attempts per game, he's getting to the line every game. Not a whole lot, but averaging 2, just over 2 attempts per game. So I feel good about him being able to get this done. And he should be able to get pretty active with the rebounds and assists, hopefully, with this matchup. And he's going to need to play well because he might be matched up against Andrew Wiggins, who looked really good last night. But yeah, he's going to have a little bit of work cut out for him. But he's an excellent player. He just needs to keep himself in rhythm as far as staying out of foul trouble and getting some points on the board. So I feel good about that since they're 19th in points allowed. If we hop over to daily grind, like we had talked about, let's see. They do have this favored slightly to the under, so go with your gut if you're uncomfortable with this. They have it just over 50%, so 50.8% odds to hit the under. They have it at a -121. We have a lot of mixed emotions from other odds makers, though. We have some, DraftKings has it at a 50-50 shot at 115. You go over to Caesars, they have it at a -142, heavily juiced to the under. But for the most part, everyone's just kind of sticking in that 50-50 range. I just think narrative-wise, he's going to be playing a team that is on a back-to-back, and he has some of his key players in game time decision situations. So we know that is probably going to get his 30 minutes, even if those guys play. If they don't play, he may be pushing 35, maybe even pushing up into that knocking on the door of 40 minutes tonight if he can stay out of foul trouble. So I like this play. We're going to be taking this for more. If we move on to our next play, we're going to talk about John Collins at just 7 rebounds. Feel good about this. This might be one that is favored to go under as well, so go with your gut. But let's take a look at this over-under. We got the matchup against the Suns, 243.5 over-under. Suns favored by 6.5. It is a tough matchup for him, but he's been really getting it done in this department. You can see he's gone over this 7 out of his last 10 games. And we have one game where he came close to it, where he just pushed this line. But other than that, it's 9 or higher. And that's not just 7 of his last 10, it's his last 7 of his 10. So difficult matchup when it comes to rebounding if he is playing the 5. The Suns are 3rd in rebounds allowed. If he goes over to the 4, they're still 6th in rebounds allowed. So tough matchup for rebounds. But John Collins is an exceptional rebounder. He's, like we can see, he's knocking on the door of double digits in all but one game of his last 7. So that's regardless of matchup. He's doing that against the Knicks, against OKC. I'm feeling comfortable taking this. This line's just a little too low. If we look at his minutes, he's averaging 27 minutes a game, just 3 fouls per game. So nothing to be concerned about as far as him getting into foul trouble. So I expect him to get at least his 27 minutes. And I think that'll be plenty of time for him to pull down 7 rebounds. So I think worst case scenario is we see a push, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could go for 8 or 9 rebounds in this game. I don't think we have any significant injuries to talk about. Bradley Beal game time decision, which Bradley Beal's the shooting guard, but he does pull down a decent amount of rebounds when he's balling. So that might open up just a little bit, but I don't think that's going to move the needle on whether or not John Collins can hit this. But this is just honestly a little too low. If this was at 8 or 8.5, we'd probably look for another prop of his to match with rebounds or just look for another play entirely. But 7 is just kind of insulting for John Collins. The dude, he can go nuts. He's had multiple double-digit games in his last 7. So we're going to be taking that for more. If we hop over to Daily Grind, they do have this juice to go over. Okay, so this is just under 52% odds to hit the over on the odds to hit indicator. They have it at a -127. And we have BetMGM. I don't know if this is a good or bad sign, but they have this at a -160. But that's at 6.5. So we have a couple -160s. So they're really heavily juicing this at 6.5. But if you cash that 6.5, you're at least pushing our 7 that we're looking for. So this is heavily juiced to at least hit 7 or more. But we look at the odds and we use it to help us figure out what we want to do. This is not the end all be all on how you decide your play, because this has a lot to do with just what the public is doing in general. Those affect the odds, and heavy hitter, high stakes gamblers, if they place bets on props, that'll move the odds a little bit. So there's a lot that goes into this. So you want it to just guide you a little bit, but you don't want to make your whole decision based off of odds. But we're feeling good about this, for the last play, this is my favorite play of the day, D'Angelo Russell over 25.5 PRA. Take a look at this over under. We do have a pretty interesting matchup here. The Nuggets are stout, the defending champions. 230.5 over under, with the Nuggets favored by 3.5. We do have some notable questionable tags though coming into this game. Excuse me. We've got LeBron and AD. Game time decisions, as usual, they're always a game time decision. So hopefully they play. Whether they play or not, though, I feel good about him going over this. If you take a look at this, he's gone over this 8 out of his last 10 games. Excuse me, my voice is a little raspy right now. He's gone over 8 out of his last 10 games. And these games where he didn't go over it, he had a significant drop in minutes. So he's averaging 37 minutes per game, but he only played for 27 minutes in both of these games where he went under this mark. And even if you look at that, he went for 27 minutes against Atlanta, went for 15, 27 minutes against the Knicks, went for 21. So if you pay attention to patterns at all, this should still, even if he gets 27 minutes, it should put us up in this mark if we follow that ascending pattern there, because he went 15, 38, 21, 38. So if he does get his lower minutes again, I think he'll still get this done for us if we follow patterns, which I like to do. I like to follow trends and just, I think that stuff really affects real world stuff beyond just analytics. I think that these patterns are just built in the fabric of everything. So I think that he'll get this done even if he gets his lower minutes, but I expect him to get more minutes, especially if we do have AD and LeBron game time decisions. But typically he's crushing this. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's well over 30 in this game. If we take a look at this matchup, so yeah, not the easiest matchup. 9th in points allowed. That's nothing too scary. That's just above average. And then they're middle of the road when it comes to rebounding the ball. They're 15th in rebounds allowed to point guards. 8th in assists allowed to point guards. So nothing too juicy, nothing too scary. But I do expect him to be at least seeing 30 minutes tonight with the situation with LeBron and AD. If we hop over to Daily Grind, take a look at this. They have this favor to go over at a 51.65% odds to hit the over at a minus 125. It looks like we have a minus 120 and higher across the board with all the other odds makers. By the way, if you're interested in checking out Outlier, this statistical analysis app, you can see by watching the video how much data we're able to get from this statistical analysis app. And we love it. We really couldn't do what we do without it. If you're interested in checking it out, we've partnered up with them, and they have a 7-day free trial just waiting for you. If you use the link in the description of the video, go right through our affiliate link, and they'll give you 7 days to see how you like it, see if you want to, subscribe to it. I'm sure you'll love it. Once you get into everything this app can do. So that's going to do it for the 3 that I'm covering. You want to get into yours, Jordy?
Yeah. So to get into these last 2 here, let's see. So we've got this Ben Simmons for over 13.5 rebounds and assists, or it's just 13. This is a really good line for him. He's done this in 9 out of 10 games, 9 straight games. I liked the full PRA. If this PRA comes back, oh, they juiced it way up there now. Never mind. It was at 18.5, which was a steal. But if you can find his PRA on any of the sites you guys are on at 18.5, that is a super steal there. But this 13 line is really low for his rebounds and assists also. This guy can go for a double-double in assists and rebounds, no problem. You know, he gets triple-doubles a lot because he does the double-doubles so much. So 13 is just wicked low. The matchup, he's gone over this twice against Cleveland. One of them's from like 2 years ago, but this other one was from only October. He went for 10 rebounds and 9 assists. So like I said, he almost went for a double-double. That would have cashed what they had his PRA set at too. But it's a tough matchup. 8th in rebounds, 1st in assists. But Ben Simmons, he's not your traditional point guard. I think we all know what he's capable of, but for those who aren't familiar with Ben Simmons, he kind of specializes in getting rebounds and assists. That was on his draft note, is that sometimes he tries a little too hard to get assists. So it's definitely part of his game that he goes out of his way to get some assists. So I like him to go over this. It's a really low line. They didn't have it on Daily Grind. I can look again, but yeah, still not on there. But I know it's. Let's see, if we just look on Outlier, should tell us. So it's about a 120, minus 120. So, I think it's a little bit safer than that, to be honest. I'd put it in the 130 range. But I just feel really good about this play. He did this in the last game in 20 minutes. He's done this in a game. He did it against Philadelphia in 13 minutes. So he doesn't need a lot of time to get this done. The dude is super active when he's playing. He's an exciting player. Hopefully he gets this injury bug thing figured out. But yeah, we're going to be taking this one for the over. And then for this last play, underdog crashed on me. For this last play, we have Steph Curry for over 4 3-pointers. I feel great about Steph to go over this one. This is kind of where he sits around. If he doesn't go for 9 or 10 threes, he usually gets about 4. So in my opinion, this one's safe for a push, if not to just go completely over. He's done this in 6 out of 10 games with 2 pushes, and over the last 29. But he's on for Steph Curry stats, this is a shooting slump for him, right? So it's he's usually averaging 6 threes, 5 threes a game. So he's still shooting 43% on 12 attempts, which is great because he's making 5.6 attempts per game. So that's what we want to see. So tough matchup for him. Only they're ranked 2nd in 3-pointers allowed to point guards, but this is Steph Curry. If they're playing Steph Curry every game, they would be ranked 22nd. So I feel good about Steph going over this one. Any injuries? No notable injuries for the Warriors. There's a lot of people that are a game time decision for the Pacers, which is only going to help the Nesmith play if a lot of them don't play. So I feel great about this play to go over as well. So that's the 5 we've got for you guys.
All right, man. Well, unfortunately, it's looking like Underdog removed Ben Simmons entirely.
Oh, shoot.
Is what I'm seeing. So I don't know if we want to find a quick pivot.
Let's see.
All right, guys. So they removed Ben Simmons. So we're getting you a quick pivot. We're going to be rolling. Do they have the PRA on here? Yeah. So we're going to instead go with Jonathan Kuminga over 29.5 PRA. He is coming off of a back-to-back, so that's something to consider. But if you look at his PRA here, even yesterday where he wasn't super active, he still pushed on this at 29. So this is set at 29, but let's just quickly see 29.5. So he just missed this in his last game by 0.5. But I believe his minutes were low at 29. So my thought is this is going to be his floor at 29 minutes. He's not going to go under this, in my opinion, but coming off of a back-to-back, he's this young, super athletic player. If anyone can handle this kind of a workload, they may have even like lowered his minutes a little bit knowing they have a back-to-back. So I would expect him to maybe even get a bump in minutes tonight because guys like Draymond and whatnot are going to be a little bit more gassed on a back-to-back like this. But this is a really great matchup. We got 27th in points allowed, 17th in rebounds allowed, and 8th in assists allowed. So he had a great game yesterday, even despite only getting the 29 minutes. But this is a killer matchup for him. He's gone over this 8 out of his last 10 games, and the most recent game, he missed it by 0.5. So since they took away Ben Simmons, if Ben Simmons comes back by the time you're watching this and you want to roll that, I think we both would rather have the Ben Simmons rebounds and assists, depending on what it's at. If it's like, 14 or less, then I think we feel comfortable with that. But I like this PRA actually at just 29.5. So go with your gut, but we just wanted to give you a pivot since Underdog removed it on us in the middle of the video. But that's what we're going to be rolling with is Jonathan Kuminga PRA over instead of Ben Simmons since it was removed. So that's going to cover that, our full 5-man slip. All right, guys. So yeah, these are the 5 we're rolling with for today. We hope you guys have a great day. If you're interested in checking out our Discord, there's a link in the description of the video, and it's about 50 cents a day. It's a really great resource. The community in itself is a great resource. We always post our plays in there before we make the videos, so you usually get that value if we do have situations like this where the plays get bumped or removed. But yeah, if you want to check that out, link in the description of the video. And before we get out of here, we just want to tell you guys about this other platform we work with, Chalkboard. It's a really fun app because you can set your own lines. So if you're uncomfortable with a line, you can lower it. If you feel like the line is too low, you can increase the line. And if you increase it, you get a higher multiplier on your payout. If you decrease it, you get a lower multiplier, but you can fine tune it. There's plays as low as $1, just like Underdog. And the only thing about Chalkboard is you do have to hit every play. There's no insured plays, there's no flex plays, and that's just because they give you the freedom to adjust your lines accordingly to whatever you're comfortable with. So it's kind of like a trade-off there. It's iOS only, so if you're on Android, just sit tight. They're finishing up that version now. They also have a desktop version on the way. But if you want to check them out, there's a link in the description of the video. Just use code BACKDOOR and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And that's going to do it for us, guys. We hope you have a great Thursday. Enjoy the awesome slate we have today, and we will catch you in the next video.
Good luck, guys.